Welcome to my May 1st video update. Today the weather obviously has changed quite a bit since the last time I did one of these updates, and we've got a nice bright sunny day and nice weather forecast for a while. And as you can see a little bit, the flowers are blooming back there in the backyard, and I'm out on our screen porch, which is a lovely place to sit. Well, I've had my little Android Robin 32 gigabyte smartphone for a little over a month now, and I have to say I'm really liking it. You know, I got it originally because I wanted to become familiar with the Android operating system and Android apps that are used for making videos, taking pictures, editing videos, so I could be aware of that in the training that I do with mobile video storytelling. But I found a lot of other ways that I can use it as well. It's become like a second device in my pocket all the time now. Occasionally I'll take it out to take a picture, although I can do that faster on my iPhone because I'm more familiar with it. And the screen on this is a little more difficult to see. It reflects more, it seems, than the iPhone 7 Plus I have. And so it's sometimes, if I'm in a bright situation, I'm trying to use an app that I don't use a lot, I'm struggling. And because of storage limitations on my iPhone 7 Plus, I have 32 gigabytes, but it's my primary phone. I don't use this as a phone. And I have 32 gigabytes on here, but I typically have 20 gigabytes free, whereas on my iPhone, I'm lucky if I have 6 gigabytes free. So I have downloaded Pandora, Amazon Music. I'm not a big music person, but I do like to listen to some music. And I can play with the Bluetooth, I can play this through our Anchor speaker. So I can use this to play music. And likewise with podcasts. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, but I listen to some. So now I've downloaded a podcast app onto the Robin, and I use it to listen to podcasts. But my main interest in getting this, and what I want to talk about today, is using the Robin, this Android phone, as a second smartphone camera in my pocket for making videos, but also for making pictures. And though I want to become familiar with the Robin for that purpose, so I'm familiar with it if I have somebody in a class that has an Android phone, it also has served to be very useful because I wanted to recently record myself when I went out with my DJI Spark drone. You know, I use the iPhone in the controller for the Spark, and so I didn't have anything to record me with. So the Robin came to the rescue. I placed it on a tripod, and a little more stable tripod because I was out in the grass, and had it recording me, whereas the phone was being used to control the Spark. So how'd that go? Actually, it went pretty well. I was going to be kind of far away from the Robin and moving around, so I used my Olympus LS-P4 recorder, my new Olympus recorder, recording with the Purple Panda lav mic plugged into it. So I was recording that, and it was picking up sound on the Robin as well, so I was able to sync that in post. And it went fairly well. I was using Filmic Pro, because Filmic Pro is available for Android as well as iOS. A couple times it would stop. I happened to notice, and there'd be a square with a message in it on the screen, that it had stopped recording. And I couldn't figure out why it was happening, because if I said okay, it was still in the recording mode. It just had paused, and so I could start the recording again, because it's kind of crazy. I don't understand that. As far as taking videos with a rear-facing camera, this is actually a 13 megapixel camera, whereas the iPhone 7 Plus camera's rear-facing camera is a 12 megapixel camera. The front-facing camera, though, on this is only 5 megapixel, whereas it's 7 megapixel on the iPhone 7. And I was using the front-facing camera, so I could see if I was in the frame or not. It probably would have been a good idea to use the rear-facing camera and just assume that it was going to catch me, because I wasn't always in the scene anyway. Of course, when I record on the Robin, then I have the next task of getting the recorded footage from the Robin to my iPad Pro. And so I use PhotoSync or Send Anywhere. Either of those two apps will work. I find the PhotoSync app is a little easier, quicker to use because there's no code involved and so on. They have to be in the same network, so that I do that when I'm back at home. Or I could use, if I needed to do it out in the field, I could use my little SanDisk mobile drive and create a hotspot to connect the two devices together. When I'm using a Robin, though, I do miss the ease of using AirDrop on iOS devices, because that's really handy. And as I said earlier, the screen on the Robin is a lot more reflective, as you can see, than my iPhone 7. I mean, they're both reflective, but this one seems to be a little more difficult to see what's on the screen when it's out in the bright sun. So, and you know, although I have my two OMD cameras, my Olympus OMD EM5 and my Olympus OMD EM1 Mark I, it is it's so easy to use these smartphones that I'm getting really a little spoiled, and I'm pretty much using them all the time. I don't think I've recorded a video on my Olympus cameras for quite some time. And so the next thing I really want to do more of, I couldn't do it today because this was the topic of conversation, is use this as a second camera, and without any additional app like Cinemaker, which is awesome for doing this. I couldn't get Cinemaker to work with the Robin, though, so I'll have to figure out if that's a problem or if Cinemaker is just really not, the Android version of Cinemaker is just not really up to snuff quite yet. But it's not a difficult thing to have this in another position, and I can look at it and look back at this, and so you got a two-camera approach to a recording, and then putting them together in post. And I'm not using, I do everything on my iPad Pro, so I'm using LumaFusion for everything. I'm not using Final Cut Pro, and so I know that two-camera or multi-camera syncing is very easy once you understand how it works in Final Cut Pro. So maybe in the future, that might be on my list of things to buy. So thank you very much for checking in on this video update, and I'll look forward to seeing you in my next one next week. Goodbye.